Rotation's happening, and I think I'm late. Well, it's happening. Well, okay, so rotations happened virtually, but in real life, we have a little bit to go. So if you don't understand what rotation is, this isn't the video for rotation means that some of the cards are no longer available to be used because they are too old. At a certain point, cards expire and you can't use them anymore in the standard format. So I'm going to go ahead and make it clear to you what cards you should be upset about, what cards, maybe I would have liked to stick around a little bit, but overall I'd like to make sure that me and the entire greater world are in sync here so there's no confusion. But, because maybe I'm a little late, I'm going to go ahead and do it pretty fast. So strap in, because we're going in quick. Starting with Radiance, we have Radiant Charizard, which is the closest thing we have in the format to a trap card. Blood Moon Ursa Luna is almost as good, but it is a two-prizer, which means you can't just totally ruin everything by throwing this guy down at the end anymore. Radiant Alakazam was really only in jank decks until Dragapult came around, but it is a neat backup attacker. Radiant Sneasler is one of my personal favorites. Poison is a lot of fun, then Petrunk came along, and now everything's kind of all over the place. I'm gonna miss it. Radiant Greninja has like a 90% inclusion rate in like pretty much every deck, and is maybe in the running for the greatest card of all time. Holy crap. Manaphy was pretty much Greninja insurance. This thing was just there to stop people from sweeping you with Greninja. The barrel was super useful and was in a lot of decks, and now he has a successor in the form of Revavroom, but there are a lot of Curlia. They're not going to let us have any moment in time where Gardevoir isn't meta, but this definitely puts the brakes on it. Snorlax, it's just gone. Lumineon V was super useful, and we amp you very much for your service. Rotom V was pretty much the only reason to go first, now that we have a lot of item lock, and now he's gone, so most decks want to go second now. Entei and Raikou were mostly there to enable you to use a V-Star power if you didn't have a V-Star. They were also pretty flexible. There's also this Suicune that rotated out a year earlier. What's up with that? Palkia V-Star was a Greninja enabler. It had a decent attack too, but if it wasn't rotating, it would probably vanish without Greninja. Lugia V-Star is still up there. Like, it's gonna be a good deck right up until it rotates out. But I also think it's the reason that we haven't gotten any cool special energy since it came out. So, get out of here. Serena mentions Vs, which means it's weird. It's also a Lugia enabler. Get out of here. Capturing Aroma, also a Lugia enabler. Get out. Dialga V-Star. They actually keep printing metal support for it, but now it's too late. Hisuian Zoroark V-Star. People keep telling me that it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good, but they've said that every expansion after Stellar Crown, and it just hasn't happened. Giratina V-Star. Stellar Pikachu kind of muscled in on it as the Lost Box big boy, so oops. Lost Zone, just in general, was a pretty fun single prize deck. Unfortunately, once you saw one, you'd kind of seen all of them. Regidrago V-Star shone bright like a diamond right at the end, but then it was punted into the ground by Bidoof. The 4 Sealstone allowed most decks to make use of their once per game V-Star power, but with V's rotating, like what, you're gonna throw this in on EX? You can't do that, silly. The Heavy Ball, this one really stinks, because we actually have to build consistent lines now. I'm gonna miss this one. The Feather Ball was pretty much a flex item if your deck happened to be a no retreat deck, or if you were running Pidgeot. Dark Patch is actually not a huge loss. Sada and Janine allow you to just use an energy switch instead. Yeah, the requirements are slightly different, but not unrecoverable. Energy Lotto was just beaten out by Chorus. Chorus's tenacity just, come on. Trekking Shoes were basically a -1 to your deck size, which was good for consistency, but right now we kind of have a lot of really good draw power, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. The Switch cart was famous for nobody reading what it did. Unfortunately, the cards that really wanted it aren't super popular anymore and just kind of fall apart anyway with rotation. The Lost Vacuum being gone is actually huge. You have to respect tools in stadiums now. Or you run this Chien-Pao, which, come on. Super effective glasses were pretty much just for Charizard, but they would be pretty useful now, considering all the weakness shenanigans that Lily's Pokemon enable. The Panic Mask, tells us that Serena will be good any day now. We have this on an ability. Come on, moving on. Emergency Jelly was not enough healing to save Roaring Moon most of the time. So, out. Cynthia's Ambition was a really strong card, but Pheasantipity kind of covers a similar niche, so the whole comeback after a knockout isn't completely out of the question now. Roxanne, we have Unfair Stamp, which does something similar under different circumstances, but I still like this card a lot, but unfortunately its niche has been taken over. Chorus's Experiment, what do you want me to say? What am I supposed? It's not in the game anymore, we don't have the Lost Zone anymore, get out of here, use Explorer's Guidance or something. Worker, it's kind of hard to get rid of a stadium without your own now because Lost Vacuum's gone, except for Chien-Pao. So maybe this one might have been needed. Irida means the water type the water type dream might be gone. It might be over. Team Yell's Cheer was a Snorlax enabler. I don't like it. Silene, also a Snorlax enabler. Charon's Care. You would think it would be a Snorlax enabler, but it's not. Enabled some fun loops. Brant was a hilarious card. Unfortunately, fighting types suck. The Misfortune Sisters were a chance to start handling your opponent's cards without asking, which I love to do. Thornton would enable some insane turns that would usually leave me confused, like, wait, what just happened? Enabled some insane plays. It'll be missed. The Magma Basin. Okay, so kind of looks like a big deal, but the fire type will always have support because they don't want Charizard to be left out ever, so get out of here. Collapse Stadium lets you extract your squishy support 2 Prizards out of the bench. The Temple of Sinnoh, I mean, Dragapult's still good. He was the only guy that used it. Come on. Pokestop enabled some insanely hyper turbo greedy gameplay. Badoo slowed it down a little, but it's kind of the end of an era with this guy out of the question. Lost City would punish greedy decks with thin lines. I like this card a lot. It'll be missed. Double Turbo Energy is kind of the end of days for a lot of decks. This is apocalyptically bad for certain decks. Gift Energy is solid, but like I said, Fezandipity is pretty much a one-size-fits-all for draw after your opponent takes a knockout. Some honorable mentions here. They don't rotate, but they might as well. Aegislash, which is protected against Vs. Spiritomb, which shuts off abilities of these V Pokemon. And the Choice Belt, which only works against V Pokemon. All of these are still in the game, but we don't have any Vs anymore. So what do these do? I don't know. Give me your cards. Yeah, so this rotation overall is pretty apocalyptic for a lot of decks. But generally speaking, we will see the pace of play kind of slow down a lot. But in the future, they're probably gonna speed it right up, if I'm being completely honest. Maybe Mega Pokemon, maybe they'll actually release good Trainers Pokemon, I don't know. But regardless, right now the game's in a pretty relaxed state, and people are running weird stuff again. So I think we're in a pretty good spot, except always make sure you have like one single prize attacker in your deck, because everybody just throwing in an Ogerpon or something into their deck. So stay safe out there.